Last weekend, Kylie, Ben, and I headed down to the town of Harvey for Camp Doogs, a 3-day music festival with arts, counterculture, and camping. There we did a live show as part of the Perth Podcast Festival. So, for this episode, we are transporting you to a small tent packed with listeners in the middle of a verdant valley bestrewn with wildflowers in Australia's beautiful southwest. Welcome to our live episode at Camp Doogs 2017.
Now for phase 2 of WA's first ever podcast festival. Woo! A team that need little introduction. I'll let them introduce themselves to you in more detail. But please give a very warm welcome to RTRFM's Talk the Talk crew, Daniel Midgley, Kylie Sturgis and Ben Ainsley, as they regale us with the power of the words.
This very, very live Camp Doogs edition of Talk the Talk, RTRFM's weekly show about linguistics, the science of language. For the next hour, we're going to be bringing you language news, language and the law, and a whole heap of fun. Maybe we'll even hear from you. Let me introduce the team. She is the voice of the token skeptic. She's the hardest working woman in show business. She's the one that Ben and I call Yes Mistress. It's Kylie Sturgis.
G'day, everyone. And seated to my far right, the man who has now got the ability to see you all as well as regale you with his marvellous intelligence. You can just tell by the specs on the face that he's got there. Welcome to Ben Ainsley.
And of course, the pulsating, throbbing heart of Talk the Talk, the linguist, the extraordinaire, the one and only, the second hardest working person in show business, Daniel Midgley.
On this show, we are talking about brand names. Some big corporations are paying big money to make sure you don't use their names. But why not? It's about ownership. Who owns a word anyway? It's all on this episode of Talk the Talk. Hey, team.
Hello, Daniel. Hello, Kylie.
Hello.
Have you guys been doing anything Doogish?
I am considerably drier than last year.
Yeah.
Drier?
Yes.
You mean in a weather sense?
Yes. Wait, no, not in a sobriety sense. Wait. Oh,
I was just
disclosed
checking
too
it.
much.
Just checking.
And Kylie?
I've gone up that mountain already. We had Jacob Diamond give you a shout out from the stage, which was just
Where's Jacob Diamond?
hilarious.
Is he here? I want to give him a shout out.
We love you, Jacob Diamond.
We love you,
We're
Jacob
going to stop the whole
Diamond.
show just to say hello.
And for the people in the audience, some of you might be long-time listeners and are seeing us for the first time, in which case, I'm sorry to let you down.
So disappointing.
Some of you may never have heard of Talk the Talk before, ever. Good news is linguistics is actually much more interesting than you will initially imagine, and we hope to prove that to you.
All right, well, should we get started?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
We're going to start with the news, as we usually do, but this time we're going to do it in the form of our traditional live game, Fact or Fiction.
Woo!
I'm going to tell you a news story in the world of linguistics in the week gone by. You have to tell me if this story is fact or fiction.
You will have to make noise for this. You will have to participate. I'm just front-loading that information now.
And this game is kind of a three-way struggle because this is Kylie versus Ben versus you.
Yeah.
So let's see how we go. You ready?
Let's do this.
Are we ready? Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
I might have front-loaded them too much.
No, that's good. Okay, here's the first one. For one language that got knocked back by Google Translate because it was too small,
Oh.
Could you repeat the statement, sorry?
the one language got knocked back by Google Translate because it was too small. Google Translate wouldn't translate their language, or wouldn't include it in its suite.
Too small as in too few speakers?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. So the speakers decided to take their own action. You can send them a phrase, and a speaker of the language will video themselves saying it for you. Fact or fiction?
Shall we do the crowd first and then us two?
Okay, let's do crowd. Who says this is a fact? Anyone say this is fiction?
You know what? If you turn out to be right, though, you're going to feel so superior.
Oh, you get all the money.
Yeah.
I definitely think this sounds awesome enough to be true, so I'm going to say true.
Same here. I think this sounds like a really productive group.
It's a fact.
Yes!
The language is Faroese of the Faroe Islands. Do you know where this is?
The Faroe Islands, are they the ones that are sort of equidistant between Scotland and Norway?
It's kind of Scotland, Iceland, Norway in that triangle.
The famous picture of the waterfall into nothing. I think that's the Faroe Islands.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is part of Denmark, and Google decided not to include it. So yes, you can go to the website. It'll be on our blog, talkthetalkpodcast.com, and you can see people saying stuff like, "What time is it? See you tomorrow. You look Swedish."
What? Question, is that an insult or a compliment?
It's a compliment.
Okay.
Talk to me more, hot people. Don't smoke crack. Should we go for a walk in the woods and enjoy ourselves?
I can't help but feel like the Faroe Islands might not sound fun, but very interesting.
I think this sounds like, the video opportunity to essentially get a Tinder thing going on.
It's a dating app, is what it is.
It's a dating app.
And you can also hear them say, "I thought you guys were part of Scotland."
Oh, right, fair enough.
Even the PM got on and said, "Welcome to the Faroe Islands." So that's very cool.
Lovely.
Okay.
Can we just acknowledge that Faroese should definitely be called Farwegian, though?
Let's get behind that.
Okay, cool.
Next one, fact or fiction. A study shows that religious people on Facebook talk about sex more than twice as much as non-religious people. Okay, who
We
thinks
atheists are getting none.
the religious
Is that
people
true?
talk about sex twice as much? Who says this is a fact? Who says might be fiction?
Oh, I think the crowd rules fiction on
Crowd
that
rules
one.
fiction.
Yeah.
I feel like... Actually, Kylie, I went first last time. Your turn.
Okay.
Okay, I say it's definitely a fact. I'd say that the religious people are just obsessed with sex and talk about it whilst we atheists are going, well, another quiet night sitting in watching the Star Trek.
Yeah, I feel I back Kylie for less Star Trek shaming reasons. Thanks, Kylie. But because of the moralizing and also like that famous Monty Python skit between the Protestants and the Catholics, I feel it's just like that, and they talk about sex way more.
So the audience said fiction and you both say fact?
Correct.
The audience is correct. There's
Well, I'll leave. Someone come up.
That's it.
a study
Sure,
by
I don't-
David Yaden from the University of Pennsylvania. They looked at 12,000 Facebook users. They found that the religious people gave positive emotion words like praying, blessing, and also devil. The non-religious...
Wait, devil's a positive emotion word?
Well, maybe not.
Okay.
It depends on what you're into, really.
Hashtag that's my fetish.
They also said stuff like love and family and we. The non-religious people had a lot of angry words like hate and reasons, and also
Because reasons.
and lots of swear words.
Oh, okay.
Oh, why do you look to me?
Do you swear a lot online?
I'm very sweary.
I'm very sweary online. So, what's the reason for this? Any ideas?
No.
Well, I feel... No, I don't know, actually. I got nothing productive to say about that, I'm afraid.
The National Catholic Register thinks that they found a less analytical thinking style among Christians. Interesting. And
Wait, the National Catholic body said that?
They actually, the blog, they actually put out a statement on this article.
Turns out our people think less analytically. That's a weird thing to say.
I think that maybe if being happy is a cultural value, you'll pump out lots of happy words.
Oh, yeah, true. That makes sense.
Okay, so the audience is one ahead of you guys. It's 2 to the audience and 1 for you. Next one, primatologists think
Primatologists, yeah.
primatologists.
Monkey
people.
Scientists.
They think they have observed gibbons making a vocalization that says "huh" or sounds like "huh" to signal lack of comprehension.
I don't know if I can twist out whether I want it to be true enough or if it is true.
Do gibbons say "huh" as a response to not understanding something? Okay, audience, who says this is a fact?
I think the audience has the same problem as me.
Fiction?
Okay.
Small
A
one.
lot more even. I think fact has it. Don't you think that
I think
sounded...
fact.
Yeah, I think fact has it in the
Okay,
audience.
well, what do you think, Ben?
I'm gonna go. I feel like this is the famous Far Side comic where they invent the dog translator machine, and then the guy walks around and all the dogs are just going, hey, 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 hey.
Hey.
So yeah, I think monkeys are just saying "huh" all the time.
They're just really confused.
Yeah.
So that's a fact.
I think fact.
I'm thinking fact too. I'm thinking of this sort of Homer Simpson-like gibbon just going,
True, please, for true.
This is fiction. I just made it up. I got it.
The 3 people in the audience are sitting there being like,
But a word like "huh" has been observed in just about every language, and we did an episode on that
Yes,
quite a
we
while
did.
ago.
Well, it's so universal. It's more universal than love. I'm putting it out there.
Confusion, huh? Okay, well, we need a tiebreaker here. So, last one. Should we ding for this one? First one to come up with the
Someone
right
in the audience, you need to yell "ding" really loud.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. The game company Mattel has created an Australian version of Scrabble.
Oh, Kylie got there first.
Okay, do you think it's fact or fiction, Kylie?
Fact.
Just for reference.
I'm going to say fiction because Scrabble is Satan's game. And the less
Australians
Scrabble,
wouldn't be that
the
corrupt.
better.
Oh.
Did anyone see our ad for this? You should go on Facebook and watch our videos. There's one of us playing Scrabble. What do you say, fact?
One
Fiction?
person's on my team.
Kylie wins. It is a fact.
Factoid!
No further Scrabble should exist.
Not only that, but you can get bonus points for playing Aussie slang. Congratulations to Kylie and to all of you who won. Okay, well now it's time to get into the main part of our
The
show.
gristle.
Are we going to use meat metaphors for this whole thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, what did we just have? Did we just have a
We
charcuterie?
we had a delicately pan-fried starter, and we're moving on to the slightly more fat-laden, heavy main course.
I'm a vegetarian,
I
but
was
this is
about
still
to
turning
say,
me on.
I'm not sure.
Many companies are spending a lot of time, money, and effort to convince you not to use their names. Are you aware of this issue?
I became slightly aware of this issue back in the day when I referred to something as a...
Yes. We have the official whiteboard of Camp Doogs.
Oh, what have we got?
Common enough word, people? Band-Aid.
Band-Aid, yes.
Yeah.
Are
To
you
those
aware?
not in the know, Band-Aid is actually a brand. You use medical adhesive strips.
It's a
that what we're
Band-Aid,
supposed
as
to call
someone
it?
up the
Yes.
front said. Well done, yes. If you have a bandage, it may not necessarily be a Band-Aid. Band-Aid is, in fact, a trademark word.
Yeah, and it's, in the USA, it's genericized. And I remember that we had commercials, and the song goes like this: I am stuck on Band-Aid, because Band-Aid stuck on me. By the way,
a good jingle.
that jingle was written by Barry Manilow.
No.
No lie, this is absolutely true.
It is absolutely true. And if you go on YouTube, you will find that Barry Manilow, occasionally at his concerts, will do an entire medley of commercials that he's done. And the audience will sing along because they are that popular.
I just imagine that there's just a squad of turtleneck design nerds in the back row when he does his little jingle melody who are just like, yes!
He does a good show, does Barry Manilow, but they ripped that song out and they replaced it with another one. I am stuck on Band-Aid brand, because Band-Aid stuck on me. They had to stick the brand in there. Because if you don't stick the brand in there, something happens. The name becomes genericized.
Not always, but can become genericized.
Can become under certain circumstances. Like, if it becomes the word for the thing, then these people can no longer hold on to their copyright. This is called genericide.
Oh, God, that is so grim.
If you don't like that term, then you can use the term trademark erosion, which is another good term for that,
That's
right?
I like that.
Same deal with Kleenex. If you are a writer and you subscribe to writers' magazines, they will put out ads saying, please do not use the term Kleenex generically. Please do not say, she took a Kleenex from the box on the shelf. Please say, she took a Kleenex brand tissue from the box on the shelf.
So clearly Kleenex paid whoever wrote that style guide to be like, Kleenex brand tissues, please?
Exactly.
Wow.
Now, this came to my attention because we listened to this on the way.
Yeah.
The folks at Velcro, by the way, does anybody know where Velcro comes from? Oh, yeah, okay.
I was under the impression that it might have been the CSIRO.
No. It's very useful. NASA uses it a lot. They didn't invent it, though. It actually comes from one guy. I don't have his name in my notes, but he noticed that there were burrs, stuck in his socks, and he thought, I wonder how I could do that. So the name comes because it's from French velours crochet. The
That's
velours
right.
is
I remember
the
this now.
velvet,
Yeah.
and the crochet is the hooks. So it's hooks and velvet sort of thing. They put out a video. Don't say Velcro. Can we hit the audio?
We took 60 plus years to build, but if you keep calling these Velcro shoes, our trademark will get killed. Yeah.
We aren't just doing this for us. We're doing it for all the successful brands that got so popular, people started using the brand names the wrong way.
And that's what they do. So you can watch this video. It's actually pretty hilarious, the whole
It
thing.
starts off really bizarre because it's got all these lawyers and they say, we the lawyers are here to do... And you're like, this is shit. And then it just really improved.
What the hell?
They want you to call it hook and loop. That's what my dad used to call it.
Hook and
He
loop,
called it Velcro.
Can we just acknowledge that hiring some like off-brand Marlboro man to folksify the big brands and the danger implicit to their trademarks is just the world's worst idea.
Well,
That doesn't need to exist.
But it does kind of need to exist from their point of view because they spend a lot of money on advertising and they want that money to come back. So when you advertise something, you want to advertise your brand. You don't want to advertise everyone else's knockoff junk.
I suppose. But at the same time, I just heard that video and it was the pits.
This actually happened once. Does anyone know? Can anyone explain coherently to me why we call spam, the email, unwanted email?
I've got my hand up, but is there anyone else in there who knows?
Oh, come on. There must be a fan out there of spam.
Spiced ham, right? It's
We've got someone singing the song. Spam, 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 spam.
lovely spam, wonderful spam.
That was beautiful.
That was great. That's so
He
good.
practically had a Viking helmet on at the time.
I want to give you a pen. Here.
You win a pen.
Oh, with the reach.
It's our special Talk the Talk pen. Okay, so yes, that's right. It was the Monty Python sketch where they were in a cafe and there were Vikings, and whenever somebody said spam, they would start singing the spam song, and nobody else could hear anything.
I don't like spam.
I don't like spam.
No, eggs, bacon, and spam.
So what happened was that turned into when somebody would spam a notice board, it would be because they would like say the same thing 300 times. They would copy and paste the same message, and nobody else could get a word in.
Back in the Usenet days.
That's it.
In Grandpa's days on the internet.
And then it changed again to be just the unwanted email. Now, Hormel, which owns the spam trademark, did nothing because they didn't mind if somebody used their name to mean email.
Sure.
But then somebody tried to copyright a product called Spam Arrest. And that's when Hormel stepped in and said, whoa, you can't trademark spam because we own spam.
But then I'm assuming the trademark office was like, sorry, bro, you missed the boat.
That's exactly what happened. They said, you totally own the right to the meat, but you can have the meat.
I'm not saying it. You all went there. It's fine.
I do this sometimes. But they said the trademark office said, look, if you do a search on the web for spam, you're not going to find Hormel meat. You're going to find the email. And so they, all because of Monty Python, they lost their trademark.
Yeah.
Thanks, Monty
We've got two
Python.
more examples here as well.
Go ahead.
Both of these have become generic. If you talk about granola, or if you talk about Ugg, as in Ugg boots. Yep, sorry. They've become so commonplace that they are no longer considered to be trademark, and they are genericided.
Same with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe has a really long list of stuff you're not supposed to say. Take a guess if you're supposed to say this. My hobby is photoshopping.
No.
No, don't add an ing to it. How about
my hobby is Photoshop manipulation.
No, even that wouldn't be okay.
No.
Really?
You're supposed to say, my hobby is Adobe Photoshop manipulation.
Oh, get banned. I'm not saying that.
And you're not supposed to use it as a verb or a noun. So I love to Photoshop? No. I love the features in Adobe Photoshop? Yes.
Okay, question.
Yes.
Where does Google sit on this issue? Because we've all adopted the verb Google, right? Like, can we all agree to that? Everyone Googles stuff, yeah? Google's pissed off?
Yes,
All
Google
right.
is well, kind of, but kind of not. Actually, there's a bit of a twist because the very first instance of to Google something was made by Larry Page.
Oh!
So, and this is what loses you the case. In fact, one lawyer says, I have lost cases because it was found that my client used the name generically.
Oh,
So
interesting. So you've got to exercise, like, crazy brand discipline if you're in these positions of power. Because if there's any recording of Larry Page being like, oh, yeah, I just Googled it, then they're just like, well, I guess you don't get your multi-billion-dollar trademark now, Alphabet.
It's a real tightrope because you want to be really successful, but you don't want to be too successful.
This might outflank the Oxford comma case from a couple of months ago where they forgot to add an Oxford comma, thus lost millions of dollars.
Let's play a little game here. I want you to guess whether these terms have ever been brand names.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm going
have
to jot
to-
them down so if you are at the back, you can see them.
Well, I'm going to need you to ding.
Oh, I get to ding.
Need you to ding. So okay. So what I'm going to read you a term for a thing, and you tell me this is a generic term. You tell me if this was ever a brand name. Aspirin.
Brand.
Brand. And the same for heroin. How about? No, seriously.
Hang on, no, we need to
Okay,
focus
what?
on that for a second. Heroin was a brand name.
I'm using brand name. No, I'm not going to go around saying that.
They were both created by Bayer AG, and yes, they were both brand names.
Wow.
Okay. Beanbag.
Brand.
No.
Yes.
How about escalator?
Yes, used to be.
Brand.
Wow.
Okay. How about jet ski?
No, I'm going to say not brand.
It's a brand. Kawasaki owns it. Okay. Stereo.
Oh, I'm going to say yes by Dolby, because weren't
I'm
they the
gonna say
first
no.
to do stereo?
It's a no.
Yes! I am doing really badly.
Dry ice.
No.
Somebody ding. I want.
No.
It is. It's a trademark of Dry Ice
Okay,
Corporation.
winning
new
by
game, new
default
game. Let's see
here.
if
I
Ben
love
can
this
get
game.
one thing correct.
Come on, Ben.
Okay. Taxi.
No.
I think that was me. I say yes.
No.
Oh,
Okay. How about zipper?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
A trademark of BF Goodrich. Bubble wrap.
No.
Yes.
Really? You mean all that time I was watching Red Dwarf and it wasn't... Oh.
It's a trademark of Sealed Air. So, Sealed Air Corporation. I know, right? They should call it.
Can we please officially, we're starting here. Here is ground zero for everyone now calling individual cell sealed air wrap.
It'll never catch on.
I can imagine why.
Last one, memory stick.
Yes, it was Sony.
Sony.
I remember. Sony, yeah, I got one right. Also, yet another thing. Poor Sony, yet another piece of technology that, like, this is what we'll store information on. We had mini discs, we had memory sticks, and all of them failed.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, nobody calls them memory sticks anymore. What do you call those things? They're just USB.
Or thumb drive, yeah, I hear a lot of thumb drives. That might be more middle-aged, sorry whoever said that. Because a lot of the teachers that I work with in their 40s are like, where's my thumb drive gone? It's got all my marks on it.
I would just like to tell you that 40-year-olds do not talk like that.
Sorry, Daniel.
Point of reference.
I will not talk like that until at least I'm 45. Okay, so let's talk about, can a company own a piece of language? I think while we were here, we were looking up something on this.
Yeah, in fact, Leanne Tan, if you check out her website on legalvision.com.au, and she focuses on what the Australian courts say about this. If you have a particular item, Genericide is the name that is given to a business when it's losing its trademark, and it's involved with the sections 24 and 87 of the Trademark Act of 1995. So it's been around for quite some time. What we're looking at here is that you have a particular article or an item. The register owner has losing its exclusive rights to use the trademark of the services of the same description, or if the court decides that the trademark has been generalised. So essentially, if it's become so generic that it just passes into it and it gives up, or a court can actually rule on this. So essentially, what do you do if you want it back? Well, that's where it starts becoming very interesting and complicated.
The alarming thing for me is that sometimes businesses try to trademark normal words like should've.
Yeah. Like UPS trademarked the colour brown. And I'm like, bro, it's an ugly colour, but you don't get to have it.
Veuve Clicquot, the champagne, they had that particular trademark of the colour orange, for example.
I think the should've was Specsavers.
Specsavers, yes. They decided to have should've both with the apostrophe and without the apostrophe.
That's not, no, you can't have that.
Yeah, they did. They did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a weird area because it's about language ownership, and we know that nobody owns a language.
Well, apparently Specsavers owns should've, so...
So do you think that's going to influence anything?
Well, I mean, because so much of...
Apostrophe or no apostrophe.
I'm sorry, the Microsoft actually has shouldn't, both apostrophed and otherwise. Look, precedent is really important when it comes to the law. Like, I don't know much about the law, but I know that. And so I feel like if you start at a stage of should have being trademarkable, then it is kind of a slippery slope. Having said that, trademarks are quite specific things, and language is inherently not specific, right? So I'm thinking that if you try and sort of widen your gaze as an evil brand overlord and be like, perhaps I will be able to trademark entire sentences. That's when it starts getting a bit messy, because sentences are so abstract and so move aroundable that it doesn't. Like, we on the show many times we've done the thing where you change word order around, and even if you sound like Yoda, it makes sense, right? So no, I'm thinking languages can't be trademarked.
What do you think, Kylie? Any final thoughts here?
I think in terms of final thoughts, what we're talking about is advertising and branding, and they're just trying to push a message out there. And you can see that in the Velcro video that you'll be able to see on our website. They're just essentially trying to reclaim the brand. You get people who try to emphasise that they've got exclusive right, and also if people are using the mark as an adjective, not a noun, adding a descriptor after it, for example, Lego blocks, for example, to your products, it starts pushing it a little bit further. So you're never going to stop these particular companies trying to push that this is their item.
Hang on though.
What?
There's a problem. There's a spanner in the works.
What's that?
Right? And we're going back to Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Conlangs. What about invented languages?
Smeg off.
Is Dothraki copyrighted?
Oh, well, didn't we see that one case about that fan fiction Star Wars film where Paramount said you can't use Klingon?
No, it's Star Trek. That's okay. I won't kill you. It's fine.
Did I say Star Trek? What did I say?
You said Star Wars, but that's fine.
Sorry about that.
You get one.
Okay, that's one for me.
But yeah, so I mean, theoretically, if it's your intellectual property, then there's natural copyright attached to it. Then I wonder, where does the line begin between a constructed language and, say, a saved languages? We've done lots of shows about languages that have less than 5 existing speakers. So at a certain point, the existing fluent speakers die, tragically, and then a fair amount of work has to be done to reconstruct the language. So when does it become a conlang and thus copyrightable?
This sounds like something for a future episode.
I think so.
Just blew the linguist's mind, y'all. No big deal.
My final thought is this won't have any impact on language. They know that this won't stop people from saying Velcro or whatever, or Google.
The Marlboro Man says otherwise, Daniel. I heard the song.
Yeah, the thing is, they don't have to influence us. All they have to do is show that they asserted their right.
Okay. They have to genuflect in the direction of ownership.
That's all they're doing.
Aha!
That's my view.
Just remember, they're genuflecting, people. Do what you want.
On that note, shall we go to our word of the week?
Yes! So I should customarily do my improvised...
Do your thing, Ben.
Go for it.
Like the feted tripper, resplendent in the field, staring at the sky as the sonorous waves of sound play over his or her or both genders' mind, we have cycled down to word of the week.
Thank you, Ben. You got to hear it right here, folks. The first word of the week is no problem. Maybe you're not...
That is not new. I'm sorry to break this to you, but I say no problem.
Do you say no problem or do you say no worries?
I say both, but because of my on the down low upbringing in America, I also say no problem a bit.
I was wondering if anybody has ever heard anybody tell them not to say no problem. Has anybody ever had anybody tell you not to do this?
I see a guy nodding. We've got a nodder up the back.
What'd they say? Did they give a reason?
It's not correct. Right.
Okay.
So it was just language policing. It was just like, don't say that. That's wrong. Yeah, right.
Our good friend Pharaoh Cat said to me once that she had a boss who didn't like it if people said no problem, because it starts off by you saying no, and that sounds like it gives them a little no feeling, like it sounds like you're starting to refuse them, and they might not like that.
That is dumb, because we are the nation of yeah, but nah.
Yeah. Well, let's test it here. If I was in a circumstance where you were providing me with a service, like for example, we're over there at the coffee line, you let me in a little bit early, and I say this to you. What's your immediate thoughtful response? Is it no problem? How many? Put your hand up if it's a no problem.
No problem?
No problem.
Okay,
No
and now no worries?
No problem, no worries. Oh.
How about just the old-fashioned you're welcome?
You're welcome.
Okay.
Oh, we've got a couple of Mormons in the audience. That's cool. That's cool.
I say
Or Canadians.
you're
Or
welcome.
Canadians. Sorry.
So, it's been noticed that, or suspected that this is something that older people object to, but younger people don't seem to mind. Did you find anything?
I did indeed. There's in fact a research paper out there. It's amazing what you can find research on. University of Toronto, 2016, a fellow called Aaron Dinkin looked at a good cluster of people, about 1,500 of them, and realised that you're getting a trend towards people saying thank you and are getting a response of you're welcome if they're above their 30s. But 30s and below, your 20 cluster, you're getting your no worries, you're getting your no problem.
Good grief.
Good grief.
Oh no, thank
No
you.
problem.
I absolutely am 100% sure that when this research was released and there was a dumb press release about it, there was a whole suite of clickbaity articles that were just like, thank you is dying, your welcome is nearly dead.
Yep.
In fact, the paper's called It's No Problem to Be Polite, Apparent Time Change in Responses to Thanks.
Yeah, so this seems to be a thing that is, no problem is not a problem. Let's move on. Fatberg.
Oh, I know what these are because I read lots of utility-based articles because I am a utilities enthusiast.
Okay, go on.
Fatbergs are the reason why you are told never to pour your oil down the sink. Because when oil gets cold, as most sewers are, even in hot places like Australia, but certainly in places like New York and London, when oil gets cold, it solidifies, and the bigger it gets, the more surface area it creates, so the more oil solidifies on it, until what is created is what I can only imagine to be the world's most terrifying, stinky thing, and they call them fatbergs. And when I say fatberg, I mean like multi-ton hunk of lard, just like glistening on the side of large sewers.
Dude,
and it
these
gets
people
so
just
bad.
had lunch. Come on.
And it gets so bad that it creates like really significant civil engineering problems.
The last month, a disgusting bolus of congealed fat and sanitary products.
Are you sure you're not just talking about Donald Trump?
Bolus of congealed fat. That is the best punk band name I have ever heard.
I just wanted to use the word bolus.
We're going to be bringing that to Doogs next year.
It weighed the same as 11 double-decker buses because London.
Jesus!
And it was 250 meters long. 250 meters long. It took men with shovels and nasty hoses to break it up. And this kind of thing keeps happening. So please, please, don't flush fat or pour fat down the sink. And flushable wipes aren't. Otherwise you'll be creating a fat
Interesting. I didn't know that.
The thing I love about this is that berg seems to be becoming a productive morpheme. So we had iceberg from 1774.
Of course.
The morpheme berg actually meant hill,
Oh.
and that's why iceberg.
Oh, yeah, because it's a hill in the water, right?
Yep, that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And that's why you get Pittsburgh and Nuremberg, because these
They're
are
all very
places
hilly.
on a hill.
Ah.
Okay, and finally, our last one, and this is where I need your help, because we're here at Camp Doogs, and we're in the white-hot center of linguistic innovation, because we've got young
You
people...
never knew that.
And very switched-on socially people.
You're the leading edge of the curve. Fingers on the pulse, folks.
I noticed this tweet from Sophie, my friend linguist Sophie. It says, sad react and angry react as new slang terms emerging from emoji usage. So what's happening is that people are starting to not just use the saddy face and the angry face, but to actually write out or say sad react or angry react.
Hands up if you have encountered this in text messages.
Anyone? Oh my gosh!
Everyone under the age of 30 just put their hand up. I love it.
Hang on. Has anyone seen it spelt differently? Not just react, R-E-A-C-T, but spelled some other way?
Without the C.
Said react, 4 letters. Thank you.
You get a very badly, somewhat aggressively thrown pen.
Here. Okay.
Surprise
So
react.
this seems to be happening.
Wow.
How is it being used? Do you say it when you hear something sad, or what? How are you hearing it? Somebody please explain to me.
That's an imperative.
As an
As
imperative.
an imperative?
Look at you using linguistic lingo.
The only reason I did linguistics as a major.
You're the reason I did linguistics.
Bad
as a major.
moment. Oh.
I wish to gift this to you. This is a Talk the Talk mug. Come and get this.
We're not gonna throw this one aggressively.
I'm not
I
going to throw
promise.
that one. Please come. What is your name?
Lexi.
Lex, I've seen you before.
It was 2009.
It's lovely to see you.
In the distant past.
Linguistics is an elective, and then it became my major.
That happens so much. Lexi says, I did linguistics. I wandered like this. Did you wander into class one day and it was awesome?
And you were there? And you were... Wait, no, you weren't.
No, wait.
We are to blame for everything
I
that's
know.
going wrong in society. Really. I'm sorry.
Well
done.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to see you again.
They get the reactors without the C, so it's okay to be
Do you ever see?
Ah.
Do you ever see Anguri react with an extra E? Anyone?
Angry. Oh, I like that.
Okay.
That's fun.
Okay,
I got a nod up the
seeing
back.
some nods, yeah.
Yep.
So watch out for this one because this is new, and you're seeing it here first. Maybe.
Fresh off the Twitter presses, folks.
I got another question. The abbreviation AF, as in as fuck. Okay, who says that like AF?
I say that in class all the time because I get to swear as a teacher without swearing. It's great.
Does anyone say it AF?
Oh, we
Not
got some.
really.
No, we got some yeses.
We
Be
got some Fs.
confident. Hands up. Who says AF? Come on. I saw some.
Anyone?
Yeah, we go.
Two or
Thank
three?
you.
Okay,
I
so-
like that. And you know what? No shame. No shame. This is Talk the Talk, all right? You use language however you damn well please.
We got a couple of minutes, so we can pass the mic. If you have any sort of words or phrases that you think are new and
Yes,
breaking,
yes,
come
yes,
up,
yes,
come
yes,
up,
yes.
come
We got a new one. Come up, come up, come up. First of all, what is your name, sir?
State your name.
My name is Callum.
Hello, Callum.
Okay.
Hello.
What's your cutting edge word?
I wouldn't call it cutting edge, but I have always wondered to myself, what is a doog?
Oh!
Burn the disbeliever! Burn!
I think I just saw Matt Aiken just like duck down and run as fast as he can from the back of the crowd.
Doesn't he want people to know?
No, I feel like there's no good answer.
I just thought it was a reversal of good, like good friends, good times.
See, this is the thing, but I'm thinking that they are deliberately fostering a air of mystique around the word, so that people will be like, "Oh man, I was there in like the first year, and that's what like the common people think, but actually it means this totally other second thing." That's what I reckon. they're trying to do.
Maybe it'll
There's just a
you hang
douchebag
around with
inside
at this
me, and he
event
comes
too?
out all the time.
maybe it'll mean something different in time.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to research this a little bit. Maybe now that we've asked this question, it will become unknowable.
Okay.
It means nothing.
Do
Anybody
we
else
have
with
do we have any other
others?
bleeding edge words? Something that you've seen popping up just recently? By the way, while you guys think about that, I want to give an honourable mention to my father-in-law, who is in his mid-60s and was the first person I saw using the spelled-out emojis things. So this dude is bucking every trend possible because older white men are like notoriously the last adopters of language. They are the most curmudgeonly D-bags in the world.
And-
to the extent that...
And young women are first.
Yeah.
Well done, young ladies. To the extent that, and I've always remembered this is one of my favourite facts that we've covered in Talk the Talk. If you go to so old, white, rural men are like the icebergs of language, right? They will hold samples from potentially hundreds of years ago. And if you go to certain very remote parts of the UK, you will find older men who will still pronounce the silent B on the end of words like lamb and comb
Lamb.
and words like that. So they will say lamb, comb. True story.
There's a special name for them. They're called norms. Non-mobile, older, rural, males.
There you go.
Yeah.
Normie McNormitons.
They're normies.
Now, you've had some time to think while I regaled you with norms. Does anyone else have some brand new words that
Or
you've seen?
Things you've seen.
Come on, Doogs.
It's one of those things that it's just hard to remember.
Oh, yeah. Come up.
Hey, wait a minute. You look kind of familiar too.
Is there anyone here
I like
who has
how
not
he
been
paused.
in
He's
a
like, oh no,
class
they've clocked me.
with Daniel? Everyone's been in Daniel's class.
I doubt this is very new, but I've been saying it for years, but I never knew it, and I heard it in a Camp Doogs video the other day.
Yeah.
Bunta.
How do I spell that? B.
B-O-O.
NTA or BUNTA? BUNTA? I feel like this might be a thing that is said way more often. What was your name, sir?
Ben.
Great name, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bunta or Bunta? Yeah, I feel I'm with you. I'm feeling you. I'm feeling the you.
So what is this thing?
Bunta is just very good. It is a superlative, is it not?
Is it Mintox?
Yeah.
It might be the new Mintox.
It's also Kuda, right?
I've learned that as something else, but okay.
Well, other than the place in Bali.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
I wonder if it came from that. Does anyone know? Does Kuda come from just a bunch of drunk bourgeois Australians who are just like, oh, mate, it's Kuda! Just remembering bintang singlets and one thong, just one. But it's not even your thong, you just found one. You didn't lose one.
Lexi?
I feel like it's the kind of word that it's mostly used for bad things, but you can also use it for good things.
Mostly used for bad
Oh,
things.
you think bunta is
possibly used
bad?
for good things.
No, you can use it for both, because there's a Japanese word, yabai, and you can use it for fuck, or you can use it for good, and you can, like...
Right.
That must make dating so difficult.
Like deadly or sick
Deadly.
or any of those words. Yeah. Which apparently my very favourite sort of transition word over from Noongar, which is Dadi, actually means unwell. And so it uses the same, is used in exactly the same way as sick, right? They're like, oh, that's Dadi.
If you have any more examples of linguistic innovation, because you always think about these things afterwards,
Yes.
We'll be wandering around all day. Would love to see you, love to hang out and chat. That's what we're into. So I think we're just about done here. So I'd like to thank Ben and Kylie for joining me on this Camp Doogs, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, wonderful audience. You the real MVP, other than my father-in-law, who's just repping as a 65-year-old.
Thanks, everybody. Love you.
And thank you to Doogs for putting this on. You guys are geniuses. I'm told that hopefully if you guys were like, whoa, this was a really cool thing, I liked this, but you want to go off and see a band you like or lie down or whatevs, you will be able to hopefully avail yourself of a playlist of all of the talks from the weekend. So those of you who yummy down on the podcasts, check out the Doogs podcast post-event.
We are on RTR on Tuesdays. Please come and get a card so you can track us down. Thanks.
Thank you.
Gosh, wasn't that fun?
It was amazing, and it just gets better every year. I know it's only been 2 years, so it's like, oh, how can you compare? But it's just wonderful down there, and the atmosphere and the spirit of the place is just fantastic.
I really enjoyed people coming up and saying, hey, you guys, I really enjoy your show.
You
It
have
was
such
so
a fan
lovely."
base. Everyone adores you. It's just like, hi,
you.
Daniel. Ah.
Actually, it was lovely because Bruce actually rang up while we were playing it and said, hey, I really enjoy your show. I love what you're doing. You pick such interesting topics. So thanks, Bruce. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and also Billy sent us an email. Was such a pleasure to watch Talk the Talk live at Doogs. Was a highlight of the weekend.
Oh.
Really spun me out to see what you three actually looked like after many years listening on the radio. Ha ha.
We've got all these videos as well of us acting like total goofballs as well. So, yeah, it surprises me. I was wondering how many people check those out.
Well, if you want to see what we look like, we are actually putting some of our episodes on video, and we have a YouTube channel. So
we're on Twitter. I tweeted a photo of us just this morning, goofing around in the studio. We're all over the place. You can't stop us.
That's true. Let's see. Other comments. We have a comment from Andrew, and also Steve made kind of the same comment.
Oh, okay.
That Doogs were something that they said in primary school in the 60s. They were marbles.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Brain blown. How does this relate to, Camp Marbles?
I don't know.
Camp
A
marbles.
place where you find your marbles after you've lost them.
That makes sense.
Andrew says, we played Doogs every lunch and recess at primary school. And Steve said the same thing, have a game of Doogs.
We need to have a Doogs tournament at the next Doogs, maybe.
A Doogs tournament. That's a good idea,
Yeah.
It would be etymologically correct.
BYO marbles.
David also says that when you were about to fight somebody, you would say, come on, get out your Doogs.
Get out your Doogs.
Which means get out your fists.
Oh.
You ever heard this kind of
Camp
thing?
fists. No, I think Camp Marbles is better.
I think Camp Marbles is better, but I still like my answer. It's just good.
Good, yeah.
That was the thing about Doogs. It was just
Doogs.
good.
I looked at it the first time I saw it and I thought, oh, is that like Camp Dogs? Is it like Doge? Is it like Doogs?
Doge.
Doge, you're dogging around?
My
goofing about?
youngest son, when he was like 1 or 2 and he learned to talk, he wouldn't say, good. He would say Doug. I'd say, how are you doing? And he would say, Doug. And eventually he reversed it again, but that's a process known as metathesis.
Learn something new every day.
There
you go.
We really enjoyed getting down with the Perth podcast collective.
It was wonderful to be there as part of the first Perth Podcast Festival ever. Huge thanks to Sarah Tout and everyone who organised it, and all the other people who presented, the people from Centre of Stories and so on.
Also the sound guys, Ryan
Yes!
Holland. They were awesome.
Oh,
So
we love
helpful.
you.
Wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Yeah,
frankly.
thank you so much.
Are you up for another trip next year?
Absolutely. So please be there if you can, or support us if you can, so we can make sure we can get the trips happening more often.
We love doing live shows, so if you want to find out what we're doing, head over to our Facebook page and like us. You'll unleash a fire hose of memes and things, and those are pretty fun too.
And a great community. That's the important thing.
And don't forget that we're also on Patreon, so if you want to get lots of extra goodies like videos and audio, that's there. Keep listening, because Mark Neal is taking us out to lunch really soon with all the latest and greatest new music. And until next time, keep talking.
This has been an RTR-FM podcast. RTR-FM is an independent community radio station that relies on listeners for financial support. You can subscribe online at rtrfm.com.au/subscribe.
Our theme song is by R Trees, and you can check out their music on rtrees.com and everywhere good music is sold.
We're on Twitter at TalkRTR. Send us an email, talkthetalk@rtrfm.com.au. And if you'd like to get lots of extra linguistic goodies, then like us on Facebook or check out our Patreon page. You can always find out whatever we're up to by heading to talkthetalkpodcast.com.